Each circuit's a little different in here. Remember, there's 5 strength circuits. Everyone's different. So this first one here that we're going to demonstrate is the Magnum. Now on the machine, it's going to show you a starting point and a finishing point. And it's also going to show you which muscles that you're working on that exercise. It's going to give you a little detail here. The issue we're having now is a lot of people want to know the how and why. In other words, what's the in-between? What form do I do? So in here, remember, you're going to have a workout card that goes to every circuit that you can actually record on, which is in a previous video. But to give you an idea, this one, when I'm doing the leg press, when I sit in here, I can sit in here like this, and I'm going to have a lever over here. So as Daniel walks around here and shows you, I can adjust that lever to take this where I want it. So in this case, when I'm doing this, if I'm going to change my weight, these are 20-pound jumps. So if I want to go some 110, and say 110's too light, but if I go to 130, it's too heavy, I can literally come over here and use this 5-pound jump. So if this is up here on a just kind of resting by itself with no weight at all on it, if I go here 110 and I want to go say 120, I can just literally put that on there and I'm 120. Now if I want to go 125, I'd simply do this, and then when I'm ready to go 130, I'll pull that out and go 130. So anyway, you can adjust these by 5 pounds. Now let's look at our form. So when I'm doing this, typically, and I talk about this again on the previous video, is we want to make sure our range of motion is good. So we never go real heavy on the first workout of any circuit. We want to make sure that we don't get sore from the range of motion. If we don't, then we can increase the weight up with each workout till we get to our desired weight level. Now this one, again, I'm going to get this set. Now for me, this is not quite 90 degrees, so I'm going to bring it up 1. And again, very easy to adjust. I'll get it up to number 3, lock it in. Now I'm going to get my feet here. Now I'm about 90 here. So when I'm doing this, you're going to have people position their feet in different areas. Typically when I'm getting on here, I want to have my knees about level with my toes. Maybe just about cross. Maybe it can be a slight bit higher, but if you go way down here, you're going to tear your knees up. If you go way up here, it's going to be hard for you to get positioned. Like you see, I'm fighting to get it up here. So again, I'm going to get my level about where knee to foot. I'm going to get about shoulder width. Now again, you'll see sometimes people take their feet a little bit closer, a little bit further, but typically when we're instructing somebody, we'll just go about shoulder width. Now once I get it, I can grab my handles here, and I'm going to push all the way out. And I don't want to lock out, because when I lock out, I can sit here all day long. So what I want to do is when I come down, I'm going to come down as low as I can right before my weights hit, and I'll stop. I'll come back right before my knees lock. So it looks like I'm locking, but I'm stopping right before it. So once I get everything positioned, the weight looks good, I'm going to go about a 2-2 count when I'm doing my form. So for someone just looking at me, they're going to look like I'm almost locking, but I'm doing what I call a soft knee. And I'm doing about 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down. And again, I'll do, on your workout card, it says 10, 12, or 15 reps, so you can choose that according to what your goal is. But again, a nice controlled movement is all you're doing. So again, I'm demonstrating all that on the first machine. So as we go through the rest of the machines, you'll kind of have an idea of how the weight works and adjustments work, and we'll go through every machine for you. Okay, so we're doing a leg extension now. So where we worked our upper quads on leg press, we're going to work the lower quads now. So here it's going to show you exactly how we're going to do it, start and stop. I'm going to be showing you the form, and again, what muscle you're working. Now weight-wise, again, I'm going to go with just say 75 pounds. On 70, 75. If I want to go 80, we'll go ahead and go 80. So I've got it set where I want it. Now adjustment wise, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to move this by grabbing this and get out of my way so I can sit in here. So when I sit here, I'm going to lean back. Now right here, I can already tell my leg is too far up. I want it right at the bend of my knee to be right at the crease of that pad, and I'm too far up. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to adjust this back and take this back about 2 inches. That ought to fit me. Now the good thing about this, you're going to have a workout card. So again, once you get these adjustments set, you'll know next time where you want to be guessing where to put it. You'll know where you want it at. So now I'm going to get back here. Once I get in here, it looks perfect. I'm right at the back of my kneecap, right at the rounding part of that pad. So once I get this, now I'm going to grab this. I'm going to bring this down on my legs. What I want to do is go about 90 degrees. Now some people take it further back. It's totally up to you. It puts a lot of pressure on your knee though. So once I get it, I'm going to grab my handles here. I'm going to extend it out. It's like I'm flexing that muscle. Now I'm not hyperextending, so I'm not going to put any damage on my knees, but I'm going to go real slow. So I'm going to come up, squeeze that muscle, back down. Again, I'm going 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down. Nice controlled movement. and that's going to be your leg extension. Now we're going to do the Magnum leg curl, and on this one here, it's going to be, it looks like a lot like the leg extension except you're curling back. So again, it's going to show you how to start, how to stop, what muscle you're working here. So in this case here, I'm going to go with about, say, let's go 60 pounds. So again, I'm going to go my 50 here, I'm going to add 10 here. And then I've got it adjusted, I think probably where I want it, but let's look and see if it fits me. So I'm going to slide in here. This should always be up where it's out of my way. Now once I do it, this is hitting me about right. But remember, if it wasn't, I could get out there and adjust it like I did on the last machine. Now once I do it, I want this straight across. So if this was too low, like way down here, I would bring it up, lock it in to when I put my legs here, I want it to be right on my ankles. And then I'm going to grab this, I'm going to bring it down here and lock it into where my legs won't move. Now once I do that, I can grab the handles on the side here, or I can put my hands right here, which I'm going to do here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to curl it down, squeeze that hamstring, come back up. So now we're working the back part of our legs. Again, remember, we're not trying to go heavy on that first workout. We're just trying to get the form down, see if we get sore from it. And again, I'm going to go about 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down, and that's your seated leg curl on your Magnum. Okay, so now we're going to do a standing calf raise. So again, you'll see your picture here. I'm going to show you how to start, how to stop, and what muscle you're working. Again, the adjustments work the same way. I'm just going to go a quick adjustment. I'm going to go, say, 90 pounds. Maybe I want to go 95. So we got 95 pounds. Now when I do this, when I walk up to this one, typically I want this to be right above my shoulder. So I know I'm going to have to raise this up. I'm going to grab it right here. I usually get one hand here, and I'll raise it up just like that. And then once I get it, what I'm looking for is when I walk flat-footed, I want this to be right on my shoulder. That way when I step up on the platform, it's going to fit me about perfect so I can get a full extension. So once I get that, I'll get my feet here, right on the arch of my foot. So once I get it, I'll stand here. Now I don't want to squat with it. I just want to go up here and back down. So I'm not really bending at the knees. I'm going nice slow form and stretching that calf out there. So nice and slow, not bending at the knees until I'm finished with the set. And that's going to be your standing calf raises. Okay, so now we're going to do the Magnum chest press. Again, you're going to see your picture, how to start, how to stop, what muscle you're working. Now this is going to have a couple adjustments. You're going to have a seat adjustment, and you're also going to have this adjustment here, which lets the seat go up and back. So if you're maybe a larger person, you're going to want to go back this way. You know, if you're a real tiny person, you're going to want to come up here and get full range of motion. In my case, I'm going to put on number 3 to start off with. So when I do this, what I'm looking for, when I'm sitting here, I want my chest about level with that bar here. So let's look and see if that fits. So what I'd want to do is pretend like that's a straight bar. Now in this case, it looks like I need to maybe come down. Let's see. You can see the seat numbers here. I'm going to get that about where I want it. Now I'm going to cross here, which is about right for me. So once I do it, now I'm having to reach in there to really get it. So what I could do to make it easier, if I can't reach, I can always take that back a little bit further. Makes it a little easier for me to get a hold to. Now weight-wise, I'm going to go with about, let's just say 60 pounds. So I'll go 50 here, 10 here. Now I can grab in all these different angles. Typically I'll have someone grab here or here, and I like this position here. And so what I'm going to do once I get it, I'm going to push all the way out. Now when I push out, I don't want to lock it and rest. So right before I lock, it's like a soft elbow. It appears like I'm locking out, but I'm not completely locking out, okay? So I'm going to go, again, I'm going out here and back down slowly. Now remember too, when you're doing these machines, you're always going to want to breathe to match the movement. And this position right here is like when I go out, I'm going to, when I get to full movement, I'll inhale coming down through my nose. Now no one will know you're doing that, but just to remind you about the breathing, you just want to kind of get the breathing to match. So again, that's going to be your form, 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down. And again, that's your chest press on the Magnum. Okay, so now we're going to do the incline. Now this looks a lot like the flat, but it's going to work the upper chest a little bit more. So again, it's going to show you the starting and stop position. It's going to show you working the upper part of your chest a little bit more. And then right here, you're going to have adjustment on your seat down here. And you're also going to have your back. Now I'm going to adjust the back first. That's actually, again, where I normally fall. I fall right in the medium. I'm not real small and I'm not real large. I'm falling in on the number 2 here. And then on my seat, typically I use this one a lot, so I know where my adjustment is already, so I'm going to put it on 6. So I got that all set up. Now when I get in here, what I'm looking for is this to be like a straight bar too. Like if I were doing an incline bench press, I want that bar to be right across the sternum here. So I know that's going to fit me about right. So once I get into it, now always remember too, you're going to be a little weaker typically on incline than you are on the flat. Okay, so if you're going say 50 on that one before this, you may want to go 40 just to get the feel here. Now once I get in it, I'm going to push all the way up, not locking out and resting, but right before I lock. So I'm coming down, back up. Now remember you're breathing too, so as I do these, I'm just going to do my breathing. And again, don't get in a hurry. The part I tell people when they're doing these circuits, get in a hurry during your rest, not during your actual movement. Go slow and control that movement completely. And that's your Magnum incline press. So now we're going to do the Magnum pec deck combo rear delt. So there's two exercises in this machine. You're going to have two different pictures. You're going to have the pec deck. You're also going to have the rear delt. Now on this, it's going to show you the charts on what muscle you're working on the pec deck and what muscle you're working on the rear delt, okay? We're going to start off doing the pec deck. So you're going to have adjustments up here, and you're also going to have a seat adjustment. We'll do this one first. Like this one, a lot of times guys will try to go too much range of motion and they bring it back too far. I want to bring it all the way up to number 1 or 2. So in this case, I'm going to just not take any chances. I'm going to bring it to number 1 on both sides. Now here's a reason for this. When you're doing a pec deck, you're working your chest, not your delt. So you want to stop about right here and then go in this movement here. But you'll see guys coming way back here, and that's just ripping their delts apart. And I'll give you an example that if I came up behind you and you're just standing there and I grabbed your shoulders and pulled you back, that's what they do every time they do a rep. So we want to keep it way up here on number 1 or 2. So on this case, on weight-wise, remember I've got my adjustments here. In this case, it's about right. So you're going to see I'm at 50 plus 10, I'm 60 pounds. Now I'm going to sit in here. Typically when I sit in here, when I adjust my seat, I want to be about, when I get this thing here, when I grab this free movement, when I'm straight across, I'd be about middle to the top of that handle. This is almost too high for me, but I'm going to go with it. So I don't want to drop way below by sitting too low, so this is going to be about ideal, as long as I still get the rubber in my hand. Now when I do this, what I'm going to do is act like I'm hugging a big tree. So I'm making a circular movement, and normally what I'll do is I'll act like I'm trying to touch my knuckles together. So I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to come forward again. Again, I don't want to fully extend and hurt my elbows, so I'm just making a little bit of circular movement, coming up about 2 seconds up, 2 seconds back. And that's going to be the pec deck. Now I'm going to go into the rear delt. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take it down here and put it right on that D. And so when I get it there, the D is just standing for delt. So now I'm going to face it. I can grab it here, or I can grab it here. I like to grab it like this. All I'm going to do in this case, you're normally going to lean against that because of my mic. I can't lean on it. So I'm going to sit straight up. All I'm going to do is bring this back, squeeze my rear delts, and come back forward slowly. Come back. Now typically you want to lean on that pad just to, I don't like using the pad at all because sometimes I'll go heavier than I need to. So I just like to go without the pad, just sit straight. That way I know if I'm cheating. In your case, if you do lean against the pad, just don't cheat and get momentum when you're trying to pull it back. And that's going to be your rear delt part of the movement. So now we're going to do a glute press. Now there's several of these in the gym. Every circuit that has one, they're totally different. So this one here, again, it's going to show you how to start, how to stop, and what you're working here. And so when you're doing this, you can adjust this here by grabbing that, pulling it out to where you want it. And you can also adjust this chest lever. So what I'm doing, if I want to go up or down, I'm just grabbing here. Now in this case, it's going to be a little difficult. I got a mic here. I'm going to try not to mess the mic up. But what I want to do is I want to get my knees up here. I want to be able to lay my chest on here and be almost like I'm 90 degrees, almost like my back to the table. And my heel should fit the back of that bar, and it's not. So I got it too close up. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this. I'm going to bring it up 1 notch for me. And then I'm going to get in. So again, I should fit perfectly once I do that. That's going to hit me about right. So now that I'm doing it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this thing up like I'm pressing the ceiling off of me, and I'm squeezing my booty tight at the top. So I come all, now weight-wise, I'm going to go a little lighter on this one, just so I can make sure my form's good. So I'm going to go down here, put it where I want it. In this case, I just did 35 pounds. So I'm going to come up, I'm going to push up, squeeze, and back. Push up. It takes a couple reps sometimes just to get the form down, keep from hitting your weight. So what I would do is I do all my reps on one leg, and then I would come down, take that knee, switch it out, and I'll come up on the other side. Now sometimes you may have to adjust your heel like I did. I had it in the wrong position, so now I'm going to come up, And again, I'm just going up, squeezing, and back. Up, squeeze, and back. And that's going to be your glute press. So we're going to do a leg raise station. Now this is not on the circuit card of the Magnum. We added it later on. The reason why we did, we have a regular crunch machine for your upper ab, but we wanted something for lower abs. So on this one here, you can do what I call the beginner's level, where it's pretty well flat. And when I lay on here, I'm just going to lay here with my booty on the edge of it. I'll lay back here. I'll put my forearms here, my hands here. Now when I start off teaching somebody this, I have them do knee up, or kind of like knee ups coming out like this and back. And I always tell them, if you're not real strong in your abs yet, keep your legs higher until they get stronger. When they get stronger, you can make your kicks come lower and kind of go at your level. And when you get to where you can do this lower level, then you can start doing straight legs like this. Remember, if you drop it below here, you're putting strain on your lower back. So it's better to keep it here and up. You also don't want to keep way up and hold it here because there's no tension here. Where the tension stops is where I want to keep it in between that form. Now, you can also come here and you can come down to this, grab that, and you can go way down here and make it more advanced. So again, just kind of remember that if you want to make it advanced a little harder, you also have this. If I'm doing straight legs, I can also grab the upper part if I want to do that too. And that's going to show you your leg raise station. Okay, so this is the Magnum pull down. It's going to again show you how to start, how to stop, and what muscle you're working, okay? So in here, you have a seat that you can go up or down, and then you have this that you're going to put against your leg when you get the seat one. Now in this case, with this one, I just grab my yellow knob, go up and down. I'm going to put on 3. So when I sit in here, I'm looking to be about 9 degrees with my leg. Now, my legs are angled a little bit, but if I go down one more on the seat, I'm going to be too low, okay? So this is about right. So I'm going to get this, and I'm going to grab this knob, get this down where my legs fit. Now, once I get here, I'm not going to be able to grab that. Very few people can. So I want to get in a habit of standing up, grabbing it in my hands, and then sitting down with it. So once I get it and get my position back, I'm going to usually put my palms forward and I'll rotate. Now there's no golden rule. You can turn them however you want to. I just like this feel a whole lot better in this movement. Now you don't want to lean way back here and do a roll, because you're going to be doing a roll on the next machine. You really want to sit up. This is a pull down, so it's coming down and back up. Just like this. Nice slow movement. And then when you get to the very last one, you're going to stand up with it and let it go gently so you don't tear you or the machine up. And again, this is the Magnum pull down. We're going to do the Magnum roll machine. So again, you can see how to start, how to stop, and then what muscles you're working here. So on here, you're going to have the same plate adjustments, but on here you're going to have a chest and a seat. Now seat wise, I've got this angled up to about where this is going to hit me right in the middle of my chest. And then you've got this that you can go up or down with it. What I want to do is have this set that I'm not so far out I can't reach that, but I'm not so close that I can get all the way up and hit the weights when I go back down. So in this case, I want to be able to just get my fingers about on here with my chest here, which is ideal. And so I'm going to grab it here with one, get my other hand, and then when I get a hold to it, I'm going to pull it up, squeeze my shoulder blades together, and back down. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to initiate the pull with my back and let my arms follow through. Now some of the advanced videos, we show you how to do that on the pull down and rolls. So you're not just working your arms hard without your back being engaged. Again, nice slow form. 2 count up, 2 count down. When you get to the last one, you'll just slowly lean on one side a little bit, let the other side down. And again, that's going to be your Magnum roll machine. Okay, so now we're going to do your Magnum shoulder press. So on here, again, it's going to show you how to start, how to stop, what muscle you're working. Now on here, you got a couple of places you can grab the handle here. Typically, when you sit in here, if you grab way back here, it kind of puts an impingement on your shoulder. It's almost like doing a barbell press behind the neck. And a lot of times that's going to hurt you. So I like to go here or here and make it feel more like a dumbbell press. So when I'm sitting here, what I want is my shoulder to be level with that bar right here. So that should be about ideal. Now when I grab it, I'm going to put the weight on here. I'm going to put about 60 pounds. So remember, I got the 2 stacks here. And then I'm going to grab my weight. And when I push up, I'm going to go all the way up, but I'm not going to fully extend like that. I'm going to have just a little bit of bend there. Now it looks like I'm almost fully extended, but I'm keeping the pressure on the muscle, not the joint. So I'm coming up and down, nice and slow. Now you can see, again, if I want to grab it here, that's, you know, a lot of our seniors like to do that, grab it here, and that's fine. But once I move up here, that literally puts a lot of impingement on my shoulder. Now, I like doing it because I like that feel like I'm doing a barbell press almost. But again, you have to be real careful. So again, for safety wise, it's probably gonna be better for you to start with this front handle. Go up and down, nice and slow. 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down. And again, remember your shoulder's gonna be about level here, and that's gonna be your shoulder press on the Magnum. Okay, so now we're gonna do the Magnum lateral raise. So it's gonna show you the start and the finish position and what muscle you're working. Now kind of always think about this. Anytime you do a lateral raise, it's just a difficult exercise because it's gonna isolate the shoulder. But when you're doing it on this machine here, you're gonna have a seat adjustment and you're gonna have this chest where you get your, basically what you're looking for is you're getting the seat set up so your chest actually sits in the middle of that pad. Now you're also looking to see if your shoulder is level about the middle of that cam. So that right here is where I want my shoulder level with. So that fits me about right. Now when I'm doing this, I'm gonna put my forearm in here because I'm gonna be pushing up. Now weight wise, I adjusted this to 35 pounds because I don't wanna go heavier. Actually I got on 40 pounds, so we're gonna go 40 pounds. And when I sit in here, again, I'm not gonna lean up on this pad right now because I have a mic on. But typically you don't have to. If you can sit still and sit straight up without cheating, that's fine too. That's normally how I do it, but I'm gonna go ahead and get these in my hand. What I'm doing, I'm pressing up with my forearms. I'm just kind of letting my hands stay here to balance myself out. And so what I'll do is I'll come up, I'll break that plane and back down. Now what I mean by break the plane, I don't want to come way up here and be able to rest. And I don't want to come just barely partial movement. I want to come here almost like I'm getting right above the shoulder and back down with that pad. So it's here and down, here and down. And again, that's gonna be your Magnum lateral raise. Okay, so this is gonna be your Magnum tricep extension. So it's gonna show you how to start, how to stop, and then what muscle you're working. Now this one's gonna have a couple adjustments. It's gonna have a seat adjustment. It's also gonna have this leg adjustment. This leg adjustment literally just goes up or down here. And what you're doing is you're gonna pull it up or down just so your legs will lock in. Now with this here, I'm gonna go almost to the top. And so when I sit in here, what I wanna do is I just wanna make sure it's holding my legs down. So when I adjust my seat, I wanna go at the angle of that pad. That's why it's designed this way and not straight across. I wanna be able to sit in here, have my legs where they're locked here, so I'm not gonna move. And I'm gonna go here like this. I'm fitting it good. Now you gotta be careful because a lot of times that picture makes you think you just grab it like this. And this is the whole movement, but it's not. You really grab it like this, you pull it behind, you put your hands on the pad, and then you do the movement. That way you're getting full range. So you're basically stopping about 9 degrees, come down like you're flexing that muscle, and back up. So again, I'm going to 2-2 count, nice and slow. And again, that's going to be your tricep extension on the Magnum. Okay, so this is going to be the Magnum bicep curl. So again, you're going to see how to start, how to stop, and what muscle you're working. Now again, you've got your plate adjustment. On this one, I'm going to go with about 35 pounds. And so when I sit in here, this one is a lot like that next one next to it with far the pad. It's not straight across because it wants me to sit here and angle. Now you can tell that seat fit me about perfect when I'm leaning here. So I'm angled about where I want to. Now what I always tell people when you're sitting in here, it's so hard to grab that bar without hyperextending your elbow. So what I always say, when you get it, stand up, get that bar in your hand, bring it up, and then sit down with it, okay? So once I get it, now I'm gonna come up to about 9 degrees. I'm gonna come down. Now, you have to be real careful doing bicep, because if you go all the way down, you could pull a bicep, and you don't wanna do that, okay? So I normally go to right before I fully extend, bring it up, and back down, nice and slow. About 2 seconds up. And there's not a rule to where you have to hold the handle. If you want to go wider, you can. I even see some people doing like a hammer curl where they're coming like this. But typically that best way right here is about shoulder width. Nice and slow. When you get the last one, I want you to kind of get to right there and then kind of stand up and just ease it down. And again, that's going to be your Magnum bicep curl. So now we're going to do the Magnum ab crunch. Now on this one right here, I want you to think about this. It's going to show you how to start and how to stop. But this one gets used wrong so often because you know you're working your abs, but so many people do momentum on this machine. So I can tell you by looking here that someone was using that whole stack and they were probably thinking, man, I need a heavier stack. The issue is they're cheating, and I'm going to show you why in a second. I'm going to put this way down here at about 50, and I'm going to show you this machine is duplicating a crunch that you were doing on the floor with resistance behind it. So when I'm doing this, I'm going to have an adjustment on the seat here so I can go up or down. So when I'm adjusting this, I want it set that when I sit in here, my neck, the back of my neck is fitting that pad. So So let's just see if this fits me. So I'll sit here, I'll lay back. Now I'm definitely not fitting this, so I'm gonna have to come up a knot. So I'm gonna bring it up a little bit more. That's close, but I need to go up one more. Now I could go to sleep on this thing now, but here's what you're gonna do. Once I get this, I don't want my feet on the floor because I don't want to cheat by pressing the machines. I'm gonna put my feet here. When I get my feet here, I'm gonna put my forearms here, or actually my upper arms here. I'm gonna put my hand on the bars here, and when I come here, this is what I see people do all the time. And so once I get here, I can sit here all day. There's no resistance at all to this. When I get here, there's no resistance. Watch this. When I start, I'm not pulling with my hand. I'm just letting my hands rest. I'm letting my back side of my arm pull it here. Right there is where my abs engaged. And they're engaged all the way to here. That stops here. So what I see is people doing the second half of the exercise with no weight. That's why they do the whole stack. If I come to right here, I can rest all day. If I come to here, I can rest all day. But if I come right here, I've got my abs engaged. I go about 30 degrees, and all of a sudden that 50 pounds feels like the stack. And so if you're doing the form right now, I'm going kind of fast like Rocky. I really want you to concentrate, come in and squeeze it. Think about your lower abs and your upper abs meeting in the middle and shaking hands. That's all you're doing. So every time I come up, I'm exhaling, inhale, exhale. So it's like a form of a crunch that you'd be doing on the floor with resistance behind it. But concentrate on that form. If you want to go a little faster on this one and be Rocky, that's your choice. But it's good to just control that movement. And again, this is an awesome ab machine if you do it right. And so this is the Magnum Ab Crunch.